Hi, everyone. Hi, welcome to Leisrealtalk. I'm back. It's been a week. It felt so long. Someone said that they missed my Tuesday and Thursdays live stream. So, yeah, it's good to be back. I had a great rest. Thank you so much. All right. Well, so much has happened in a week that I was gone. I'd like to give you an update on Xi Jinping's alleged health crisis, Zhang Youxia's military maneuver and confrontation with the Xi forces, the arrest of Xi's office manager, or the alleged arrest of Xi's office manager, a fallen minister who was supposed to be the next foreign minister, and a mysterious young woman whose whose wealth, yeah, not health. I've been thinking about health. A young woman, a 23-year-old young woman whose wealth and identity have set internet on fire. So first things first, the latest bombshell out of Beijing. Xi Jinping has reportedly been hospitalized. This supposedly happened 2 days ago. So a dissident from Shanghai who is connected to the city's medical circle, actually, let me see. Here we go. His name is Hu Liren. Let me make him smaller so you can all see me. So yeah, he reviewed in his program yesterday saying that he received the tip Thursday night that 3 of Shanghai's top medical experts were urgently summoned to Beijing. Their destination, the core ward of the 301 military hospital, the exclusive medical facility reserved for China's top leaders. Their mission? To consult on a patient whose identity couldn't be more sensitive. So according to Mr. Hu, that patient is none other than Xi Jinping himself, who says she suffered a sudden health crisis so severe that medical teams had to be rushed across provinces in the dead of night. But he didn't reveal what condition she suffered. So now this rumor has spread quickly through Chinese language media outside the mainland, possibly inside the mainland as well. We can't independently verify it. Still, the timing is striking. Right after the secretive Beidaihe meetings and before the military parade on September 3rd. If true, then China's top leader must be very sick or has some rare conditions. Apparently, no doctors in Beijing could treat him, and they must fly experts in from Shanghai. However, it may not be true, as this is the third time we've heard Xi Jinping being sent to the 301 hospital in, I believe, 3 months. Except that this time it came from a more reliable source, and there are more details. Now, even if it's not true, the story serves as a reminder to us all that the CCP's regime may be no stronger than Xi Jinping's own fragile health. People want him to be hospitalized. He may be sick, not physically, but politically. Okay, so here's the thing. Once you understand the current power struggle inside the CCP, you will see why he is under such enormous strain, both mentally and physically, that he might be very sick. So now let me give you the latest update on the fight between him and the anti-Xi factions, because there has been so much update in the past week. Now, last Saturday, I told you the struggle had hit a stalemate with 4 rival factions locked in a split. The reformist faction and the military faction are pushing to oust Xi Jinping. The Xi camp and then the old Jiang Zemin camp and Hu Jintao focused on saving the party. But now word is that one faction has flipped, shifting the balance. At least 3 separate forces say this year's Beidaihe meeting took a dramatic turn at the end. Until recently, so let me show you the slide. Okay, here's this. This is the grumpy old man who's causing Xi Jinping a lot of troubles. Oh, where did it go? Oh, I'm always missing some slides last minute. I don't understand why, but anyways. Okay, well, words are more powerful. Okay, what can I do? I don't know what happened to my slides. I saved them, but they disappeared on me. All right, so until recently, I told you in my last Saturday's program that Jiang Zemin faction elders like Zheng Qinghong had backed Xi Jinping, holding on to at least part of his titles at the upcoming Fourth Party Plenum. For example, staying on as the president of China. But suddenly, they reversed their position, demanding Xi step down entirely. And this has been reviewed by three separate sources independently. So that makes me believe that this is real. And two of the sources reporting this have been reliable in the past. So this development carries weight. So according to them, why the sudden turn? Well, at first, Zheng Qinghong had sided with Xi Jinping against the reformist faction led by Wen Jiabao and Wang Yang. The reason was simple. Reformists want political reforms, something that could shake the foundations of the CCP and threaten the privileges of the establishment. And Xi Jinping and Zheng Qinghong's interests were aligned, and because they're both interested in saving their privilege and saving the party. But now, Zheng has flipped. The reason? It's Zhang Youxia's move. Yes, the scrumpy man on the screen. It's due to his action. Well, the short answer is the PLA has entered Beijing. As I said in my last program, whoever controls the gun controls the power or holds the power. At this time, the gun tipped the balance. Now, in CCP's history, a field army entering the capital city is no small matter. It has only happened twice before, to the best of my knowledge. Once was in 1989, when troops moved in to crush the Tiananmen student protests. You all know this. And then the second time was in 2012, during the March 18th incident on March 18th, when Zhou Yongkang's armed police forces clashed with troops sent by Hu Jintao as Zhou Yongkang plotted a coup. So they were the only two times that armed forces went inside the city. Now this year, it happened again. The PLA's elite 82nd Group Army, formerly the 38th Army, was deployed to both Beijing and Beidaihe. I had told you that traditionally, Beidaihe's security has always been handled by the Central Security Bureau. But this year, Zhang Youxia sent in one of the brigade. It's called the Resounding Arrow Special Operations Brigade within the 82nd Group Army. And witnesses have spotted soldiers in the area, in the Beidaihe area, wearing the unit's emblem. And I'll show that to you. So this is the unit's emblem. Now, if you look carefully, here's where it gets interesting. That emblem includes a bow in the design. Did you see it? It's in the center, right? It looks like a bow, but it's upside down. It's not sideways. Now, Xi Jinping is said to fear bows because of an old prophecy in the famous Tang Dynasty text, Tui Bei Tu. And the prophecy, this is the prophecy, the original Chinese text. Oh, okay. So what it says is this. It says, there was a soldier with a bow who openly uttered, "I'm the white-headed man." Ambushing with a golden sword at the east gate, the warrior entered the palace through the back door. Now, Xi Jinping interprets this as a warning of a coup or even assassination against him. He believes he's the white-headed man. After all, his name, there we go, is his name Xi is associated with white feather in Chinese. So white-headed man, white feather man is Xi Jinping. And many people believe the soldier with a bow refers to Zhang Youxia, whose name combines both warrior and bow. Do I have that? Yes. A knight and a bow, a warrior and a bow with a bow. And now the troops Zhang Youxia dispatched to guard top leaders carry an emblem marked with a bow. What do you think? Here we go. This is the emblem. Yeah. So for a leader as suspicious as Xi Jinping, this must be nerve-wracking. The psychological toll alone could be devastating and perhaps explains why he's at such a breaking point. All right, so meanwhile, another unit of the 82nd Group Army moved into Beijing back in July, taking control of the capital's security. At the same time, the 39th Army, originally based in Liaoning, under the old Shenyang military region, was rotated in, while the 81st Group Army, normally stationed in Zhangjiakou, was rotated out. Now, you might remember me telling you before, the 81st Army is one of the PLA's most complex units because of its background and mixed political affiliations. So swapping them out for the 39th Army, Zhang Youxia's home unit from the Shenyang military region, was no coincidence. Zhang Youxia trusts the 39th Army far more, and that's why he placed them outside Beijing in key positions like Zhangjiakou, while the 82nd Army took charge inside the capital. One on the outside, one on the inside. Together, Beijing is now firmly in General Zhang's grip. In other words, Beijing has quietly slipped under covert military control. Now, let me tell you something that the public has witnessed. On August the 9th, the city suddenly saw traffic and airspace controls around Tiananmen Square and Chang'an Avenue. Chang'an Avenue is the main road, main boulevard, right leading into Tiananmen Square. And shops along Wangfujing shut early. Wangfujing is the downtown, the city center. And subway services were suspended, and dozens of ambulances were seen rushing towards Tiananmen Square. Let me show you where. Oh yeah, here we go. Let me make this bigger. Can you guys see? Yeah, so these are all, maybe like that. These are all ambulances on the street, in downtown Beijing on the 9th. And they were driving by in high speed, in droves, towards Tiananmen Square. So this unusual scenes set off a storm of speculation online. People were saying, why so many ambulances? And then the next day, by August the 10th, Tiananmen Square had been turned into what people called a police square. People spotted, police were everywhere checking, here's just a picture. Take a look how empty it was on Chang'an Avenue. And they spotted military people being bussed in on that day. And iron barricades sealed the area, right? Checkpoints popped up everywhere, every few steps. That's what it looks like. And anyone passing through was stopped for ID checks and bag searches. Some even complained police searched their underwear. So Xinhua news agency tried to explain it all away, saying that this was just the first large-scale rehearsal for the September 3rd military parade, involving 22,000 participants. But people are not convinced because why hold a massive rehearsal nearly a month in advance when in the past they were only days before the parade? And why deploy so many ambulances if this was only a drill? Were they expecting casualties? And even if you do dispatch ambulances, they should be scattered around the city and not in one spot. Rumors then exploded. Some claimed there had been clashes between Zhang Youxia's 82nd Group Army and Xi Jinping's Central Security Bureau. According to 3 different sources, soldiers from the 82nd Army rode into Zhongnanhai, Xi Jinping's leadership compound. And not just Xi Jinping. I mean, there are a number of leaders who live there. So I should say leadership compound in general. So the soldiers from General Zhang's 82nd Army, they rode into Zhongnanhai disguised in ambulances. Where are the ambulances? There we go. And then took over its security. So there was reportedly a brief firefight with Xi's guards, but they were quickly disarmed. And one man, the director of Xi's presidential office, his name is Han Shiming, was detained. Where's Mr. Han? There he is. And all of this happened while China's top leaders were away at their summer retreat in Beidaihe. So General Zhang struck while Zhongnanhai was practically empty with just some assistants, secretaries, and guards. So he replaced its security forces under everyone's noses. Now, I do not know if the above claim is true, but I saw 3 people talking about it. On one hand, we should be cautious. I think we should be cautious with claims like that. But on the other hand, it's the only logical explanation for deploying so many ambulances in one spot. If this claim was not true, then the other possibility to explain so many ambulances rushing towards Tiananmen Square was that there was massive injuries or casualties. There were gunfights breaking out near Tiananmen Square. Right, so the claim that there was a shootout between the military servicemen and then the armed police forces, then that claim was true. So this large droves of ambulances is highly suspicious. And then a few days later, on August 12th and the 13th, Beijing experienced massive internet outages. And people complained they couldn't get online. They couldn't make calls. No GPS. Their GPS doesn't work. They can't even make payments on their cell phones. And some navigation apps glitched so badly that users in Beijing found their locations showing up as Chengdu, Sichuan. And both China Mobile and China Unicom, the 2 largest telecom carriers, were reportedly affected. And so people asked what's going on in Beijing. Clearly, in this power struggle, the battlefield isn't just about troops and guns. It's also about who controls the levers of infrastructure, power, communications, and the internet. Some people say the regime might be preparing for a massive internet shutdown in the event of a dramatic or in the event of a drama. Others say that this could be Zhang Youxia testing his control of the internet. We don't know, but this is very odd. It happened on the 12th and the 13th. And then came word that central Beijing might be locked down for 2 whole weeks. Normally, parade lockdowns last only 2 to 3 days. A half-month lockdown suggests this wasn't just about rehearsals. It looked more like a military operation designed to tighten pressure on the party's leadership and force concessions. For this entire past 2 months, or I should say for the entire summer, the question of whether Xi Jinping would appear at the September 3rd parade to inspect the troops became a hot point of detention. In the end, both Xi Jinping and his rivals agreed that he would do it to project an image of unity. Xi Jinping wants to use the parade to prove that he still controls the military, but Zhang Youxia doesn't feel safe. His position was clear, or is clear. If I can secure my future safety, then no one else should feel safe right now. So Zhang Youxia came up with a counter strategy: seize Beijing's security under the guise of parade preparations. The mastermind behind this is, I hope I have I do have a picture of them, is his partner, his political partner, General Liu Yuan. Now, Liu is the strategist, while Zhang provides the military muscle. Together, they make a formidable pair. General Liu's logic was ruthless. You want to inspect the troops? Fine, I'll let you inspect them, but I'll take away your security while you are at it. This division of labor, Zhang with the force and Liu with the strategy, has proven devastating. Because Xi Jinping and his allies can openly resist. After all, it's a military parade, and by protocol, the vice chairman of the CMC, of the Central Military Commission, Zhang Youxia himself, has the authority to deploy the troops and test everything, test security, and close the city if he has to do. So that's a clever trap, right? Meanwhile, Xi Jinping has been vacillating, agreeing to step aside, then backtracking, leaving the party elders and senior generals reaching the end of their patience. And that's why even his backers like Zheng Qinghong, the old Jiang Zemin faction leader, started to back away because they now they don't want to be dragged into this trouble, because they see they see the formidable pair of Zhang and Liu, so that to protect themselves, they don't want to risk what they have for Xi Jinping. As I explained before, 4 factions are entangled in this fight, but in the end, the deciding factor is the military. And among them, only Zhang Youxia has no retreat. If he loses, he's finished. No power. And I shouldn't say only Zhang Youxia. And by now, Zhang Youxia and General Liu Yuan and all of the military leaders who followed Zhang's order, they're in the same position. They have no retreat. If they lose, they're finished. There will be no power, no safety, not even a grave. So for them, survival means only one thing: Xi Jinping must go. So there are other leaks suggest that the parade marks the beginning of the end game. Once it's over, the military will move. If Xi doesn't step down willingly, he will be forced to resign. The calculation is that it's safer to wait until afterward, when global attention fades and the regime has a face-saving event behind it. Then, with the world distracted, the real fight begins. So this now brings us back full circle. Why the rumor of Xi Jinping's sudden hospitalization matters so much? At this fragile, high-stakes moment, even the hint of weakness, physical or political, could tip the balance in this deadly struggle for power. Now, if you think Zhang Youxia's maneuver alone was enough to make Xi Jinping sick, think again. There's more bad news piling up for him. Next up, the downfall of Liu Jianchao and the mystery of a 23-year-old young woman in Australia whose identity has set the internet on fire. All right, let me talk about the falling minister. So on August the 9th, the Wall Street Journal, here we go. The Wall Street Journal had a piece saying that Liu Jianchao, the head of CCP's powerful international liaison department, had been removed and placed under investigation. But interestingly, rumors of his detention were already circulating online 2 days earlier. once again proving how fast the Chinese rumor mill gets it right. Never underestimate the power of Chinese rumor mills or rumor mills. Unlike many other officials quietly sidelined, now Minister Liu was physically removed from his home. The CCDI, or the Central Commission of Discipline Inspection, even issued a formal search warrant. That detail matters. It means investigators weren't just after him. They were after evidence of major crimes. And the timing was also telling. His arrest happened during the Beidaihe retreat. While his superiors were at the seaside, all signs point to this being more than a usual corruption case. His arrest is another blow to Xi Jinping's camp. Now, you have to remember, Minister Liu's entire career was boosted under Xi Jinping. In 2013, the year Xi Jinping came to power, he became assistant foreign minister. In 2015, at the height of Xi Jinping's anti-corruption campaign, Liu was transferred into the CCDI and put in charge of Operation Foxhound, which is the program to track down fugitives overseas, mostly corrupt officials who had fled China with hidden money. His performance impressed Xi Jinping. So to pad his resume, Xi Jinping sent him away for a gig in Zhejiang, Xi's home base, for some training in a local province, and then brought him back to the central government. And then in 2022, before 2022, he was made the deputy head of the Central Foreign Affairs Office under Yang Jiechi. Yang Jiechi was the director of the Central Foreign Affairs Office, the party's Foreign Affairs Office. And this guy, his name, Minister Liu Jianchao was the deputy director. And then in 2022, she promoted him to the head of the International Liaison Department. Now, I'll talk about this department in a little bit, but at the time, Liu Jianchao, along with Qin Gang, were considered Xi Jinping's foreign policy rising stars. They were supposed to be the successors to Yang Jiechi and Wang Yi. After Qin Gang mysteriously disappeared, many believe that he died. So after Qin Gang disappeared, Liu was believed to be his replacement. And this picture you see on the screen was taken last year when he traveled to Washington, meeting Anthony Blinken and big-name investors like Ray Dalio. So at the time, American media openly said that Liu Jianchao would be the next foreign minister, replacing Wang Yi, because Wang Yi is in his 70s, he's old. And Liu Jianchao is only, 61 years old. But now, with Liu's sudden, with his sudden removal, Xi Jinping suffered another devastating setback. That means two of his rising stars in diplomacy are gone. So people want to know the reasons behind his arrest. Opinions vary. Some say he might have leaked state secrets. Others suspect he helped wealthy tycoons transfer money overseas. Now, let me talk about this International Liaison Department, ILD. Well, this department is technically the party's diplomatic arm, right? While the foreign ministry serves as the state's diplomatic arm. This is the CCP's diplomatic arm, and mostly deal with relations with socialist and communist countries, and also third world countries. So in practice, though, I mean, that's the the objective of the department on the surface. But in practice, though, the ILD, the International Liaison Department, has long doubled as the party's shadowy influence and intelligence apparatus. It's been tied to organizing mass protests targeting foreign governments or hostile foreign governments. And it's suspected of coordinating agitation abroad, everything from anti-war rallies to anti-Semitic riots to disruptions aimed at U.S. agencies such as ICE. So many of the riots and protests that we've seen in the United States are said to be linked to this ILD, to Minister Liu's department. If Liu's arrest exposes these networks, meaning the CCP's networks in the US behind these riots, Washington will be watching very closely. So the question hanging in the air is this: did Minister Liu simply leak information, or has he actually defected? And then there's the money question, or the money angle. The ILD plays a major role in the Belt and Road Initiative, with projects worth billions upon billions of dollars. That position gave Minister Liu enormous leverage to help officials quietly move assets overseas. We're not talking about a few million here. We're talking about hundreds of millions, even billions. So to pull off transfers of money of that scale, you need state-level cover. So the ILD was the perfect front. Some reports even claim that Liu Jianchao colluded with foreign banks to help high-ranking officials sprint their wealth out of China. One way or another, Liu's fall rips open the facade of Xi Jinping's foreign policy machine. What he once held as his trusted new face has now become his latest nightmare and liability. Now, what's interesting to me is on the day Minister Liu's detention was leaked, the 23-year-old mysterious Chinese woman who crashed a $1 million Rolls-Royce into a Mercedes went viral. You probably have all seen the picture of this woman who is the talk of the Chinese communities everywhere, inside and outside China. So let me just give you a quick rundown of the event, just in case you haven't heard about her story. In the early hours of July 27th, in Sydney's wealthy Rose Bay, a Tiffany-blue, a Rolls-Royce, a limited edition Rolls-Royce Cullinan, and the color is Tiffany blue. That's my favorite blue. It's a very pretty color. So yeah, a limited edition Rolls-Royce in Tiffany blue, which is worth more than $1 million. I think it's 1.4 million Australian dollars, slammed head-on into a Mercedes. And behind the wheel was a 23-year-old Chinese woman. Her name is Yang Lanlan, which is the woman in this picture. And by the way, this picture was taken right after the accident. So that was her on that day. She walked away fine, but the Mercedes driver was left critically injured with shattered bones and life-changing injuries. He might be crippled for the rest of his life. At first, the accident barely registered, but 10 days later, a rumor exploded online, claiming Yang Lanlan's bail was set at 70 million Australian dollars, and that she had hundreds of millions of dollars in her bank accounts. So the story went viral immediately in the Chinese social media space, pushing her onto Weibo's hot search and sparking wild speculation about her wealth and background. when things like that happen, it's, I mean, in China, uh, this it smells like it's being engineered. Someone pushed the story to the top of Weibo's search list. It wasn't organic. It was engineered. And then Australian authorities quickly denied the sky-high bail amount, but the damage was already done. Chinese netizens dug deeper. So Yang was said to live in Sydney's elite. I think she has multiple homes. She has this apartment in this high-rise building, but she only lives there temporarily. So she has a garage full of supercars, including another limited edition Rolls-Royce. But here's the problem. There were no records, no company filing, no property in her name, no social media profile, no social media presence at all. Her penthouse was owned through an offshore company, her cars through a trust. In today's digital age, Miss Yang appeared almost invisible. And that's what makes her different. So she doesn't look like an ordinary red aristocrat. She looks like a ghost, rich, protected, untouchable. So who is she? That's what the whole internet is trying to find out. There are several theories. Some say she's a descendant or fourth generation or fifth generation descendant from PLA's founding marshals, of a fifth generation red aristocrat. Others claim that she's the daughter of Xi Jinping's brother, Xi Jinping, whose first wife's surname happens to be Yang. Still, there are others who say that this woman is the secret daughter of Xi Jinping himself, born during his years in Zhejiang, and the mother was a local artist. So the truth, nobody knows for sure, but people are still digging. And I won't make any false claims because I do not know either. But here's one thing that's very clear. This is what I want to tell you, and this may be the most important clue. The level of secrecy around Yang Lanlan is extraordinary. Even if she were simply a great-granddaughter of one of the CCP's founding fathers, she would have left traces in her 23 years. In today's internet age, nobody can erase their footprint that completely. The only comparison is Xi Jinping's own daughter, Xi Mingze, China's most mysterious woman. I made a video about her on my other channel, Lace Looking Glass. Chris has already copied the link in the description. And Chris, if you can copy it here, people can watch it afterwards. The same iron wall of protection shields both women. That alone speaks volumes. And here's the final twist. This young lady's story is trended in China. It's partially censored and partially allowed. It's very interesting. I actually found Chinese media articles trying to find out who she is. I mean, this is very interesting. So there seems to be, what should I say? There seems to be two forces behind her story. One force wants it to go viral and has pushed it to go viral. The other hastened to remove it. And her crash and sudden fame coincided exactly with the leak of Liu Jianchao's arrest. Coincidence? Maybe or maybe not. Either way, the timing is suspicious. It's right at the end of the Beidaihe meeting when the power fight was becoming dramatic, and it's a few weeks before the military parade. So that's what I think this young woman's story is another extension of CCP's power struggle, regardless who she is. Now, let me finish my talk by going back to Xi Jinping's health crisis. He hasn't been seen since July 24th. That was the last time he was seen in public when he met with EU leader von der Leyen in Beijing. He had a call with Brazilian leader on August the 12th. Other than that, we have not seen him. So we should keep an eye on his public appearance going forward to gauge the situation, to find out if he's indeed sick or not, or hospitalized or not. All right, that's my talk for tonight. Here's another picture of Yang Lanlan. So that was, I want to say, this was taken by an Australian reporter on the night of the accident when she wasn't wearing a mask. And subsequently, she appeared in public wearing masks. Now, some people say it looked like a different person. They do not look like the same person. And then on August the 15th, when she didn't, there were a massive number of people waiting for her outside the courtroom in Sydney, trying to get a glimpse of her, but she didn't appear. Her lawyer and her, they attended the session with a registrar. It wasn't even a judge, online. So she only appeared briefly online for a few seconds. But then earlier that day, she appeared in public wearing like a $15,000 jacket and a $3,000 Chanel cap. Anyways, but some people commented that she looked different. The two women looked different. This woman and this woman, and also this woman, and then the woman who showed up on August the 15th is the same woman. You could tell. It's as if that because she appeared in the public, she didn't appear with her lawyer at the court, but she appeared with her bodyguard in public, and she went to an ATM and got some cash. It's almost like she wanted to show in public, but it's a different person. I agree. It doesn't feel like the same person. So is she a body double? Possibly. So yeah. Anyways, so the whole internet, the whole Chinese-speaking world is trying to dig to find out who this young woman is, and they couldn't find anything online. And that itself speaks volume, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. All right, that's all. Okay. All right, let me see. Let me see what people have for me. Comments? Oh, let me take a sip of water. All right, let me, oh, I see some super stickers here. Another YouTube channel. Well, thank you. Thank you for the episode about the moon. My wife and I agree that ain't real. I got a lot of people saying that they were disappointed in me. I got the most dislikes for that video. I don't know. I mean, when I should tell you, I didn't even think the moon was not real until I saw the scientific evidence. I mean, it's astounding. And they weren't just recent discoveries. These evidence has been around for decades, since the 1950s. And yet everyone is hush-hush. They're not talking about it. So that piqued my interest, and I did the video. And you should wait for the next program. And then the next program is even more interesting because I don't know if everyone, just treat it as a sci-fi movie. It was actually written by a meditator who had the vision or recalled from memory about what happened or what the history of the moon. But it feels like a sci-fi movie, but it was fascinating to me. So I felt compelled to make the videos. Um, yeah. Anyways, so I know not everyone agrees with me, but it's so interesting. I have to talk about it. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for the super sticker. All right. Let's see. Brian Cow. Brian Cow. Bring. Okay. Wow. All right. Well, welcome back, Brian. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the support. Um, Matthew Matthew Morgan. Well, thank you, Matthew. Thank you. I appreciate it. Um, JB Ed Ed Edger. Thank you. Thank you, JB. All right. You could tell that Lei has rested. I'm in good spirit because I have rested very well. All right. CWLPROC. Well, thank you for your hard work, even when you aren't feeling well. Well, thank you for your generosity. I do feel better. I mean, Tuesday, Thursday, I did nothing. I mean, I shouldn't say I did nothing. I reviewed some videos, but I wasn't thinking about any programs. But thank you very much. I do feel better. Um, I feel like my energy is back. I think I have stayed inside for too long, and I needed sun, a good dose of sunshine and outdoor activities served me well. Kimberly Costner. Well, thank you, Kimberly. Excellent analysis, consistently superior. Well, thank you. Thank you. Um, all right. I thank you, everyone, for the super stickers. Let's see questions. Let me take some question. And another Qinggang saga. Exactly. That's exactly how it is. People say that Qinggang has died. He died unexpectedly while in detention, while being interrogated, because they torture these officials. But Qinggang died. They mentally and physically tortured him, and apparently he was not a strong man. He was not in good health, and then he just passed out, and then passed away. So that was unexpected. Uh, Nobody expected him to die, but he did. Yeah. Uh, okay. All right. Here's a question from. Let me just pick some random questions. Oh, no questions. Someone asked me, "Are you from China?" Of course, I am from China. Someone said, "Lei, you are number one rubbish woman." I took that as I think you have a great sense of humor. I took that as a compliment. Someone said, da along. Thank you for doing what you do. I appreciate that. Thank you. When you know when your heart is filled of rubbish, then what you see is rubbish. When your heart is filled with gold, then what you see is gold. That's an old Chinese belief, right? All right. Someone said, "What? Okay, why is she living in Australia?" Okay, here's a question from Paul de Fabbach. Lei, will CCP activate sleeper cells in the U.S. as part of distracting the USA during regime change in China? Sleeper cells in the US as part of distracting the USA during regime change. But depends on what they want to do. These sleeper cells are already activated. I mean, they are apparently behind many of these riots and protests in the US. So they are already activated. But they're just different levels of them. I think the CCP's sleeper cells or the cells are very active in the US right now. But once the funding stops, once the CCP runs out of money and these people are not properly funded, then they may stop working. Okay, all right. Here's a question I see. Someone said, Michael Land, like everyone should search hard on her bodyguard because if her parents trust that bodyguard with their daughter, they must use that bodyguard for many years. Well, the background of that bodyguard has already been reviewed. He is a top martial artist and an award-winning soldier from China's uh, armed police force. So yeah, people have identified his name, where he's from, and the honor he received from the CCP for his ability in combat. So that's another evidence, So what who if she's not special, if she's just one of the hundreds of if thousands of the red aristocrats who are living overseas, how could they demand the best of the most accomplished bodyguards from China to protect them? I mean, she has to be someone very special. She has to be the daughter of someone who's in power now. So yeah, to have that kind of privilege. So that's what people say. Yeah, I want to make a video about who she is maybe in a separate program because there are a lot of information about who she is that people have found. I will have to give you another 20-minute talk. Um, so I'll do a separate program on that. Okay, all right, let's see. Questions? No questions? Comments? Uh, okay, here's a question from Netflix Forum. I'll only mention the Taylor Lorenzo info because I thought you would find it interesting. Oh, did I miss the previous note? Okay. Someone says she looks like Xi Jinping. Somebody said that young woman, sorry, I'm still thinking about the young woman. Somebody says she looks like Xi Jinping's mother when she was young. They even did a facial comparison. They asked the AI to do a facial recognition of comparison of this young woman and Xi Jinping's mother when she was young. And it was like 60 to 70% match. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Someone said, if someone said 17 forever, 64. Like, if the CCP collapses, is there any chance that Taiwan can step in and unify the country again? Absolutely. There has been talks that the Taiwanese government could possibly return to the mainland. Yeah, and offer. I mean, if the next phase of China's development is general election, then the Taiwanese political parties can return to the mainland and join the election. And I believe that the Chinese people will give them a chance. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Oh, here's Jeff Ramos. Okay. About the accident, but the accent is real and the Tiffany blue is beautiful. I agree. Hard to believe someone can afford it at 23. It's not him. It's not her buying it. It's her family. Yeah. Yeah. And then people say that the driver of the Mercedes is actually a chauffeur of a media personality in Australia. I forgot his name, and that anchor, news anchor, or media personality is a diehard anti-CCP personality. So they are trying to get to the bottom of this. I mean, his driver is crippled from this car accident. And so far what I heard is that he's determined to find out who that woman is. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, it is going to be interesting. All right. Well, that seems to be. Oh, here's Drusilla. Well, thank you, Drusilla. Thank you for another great show. Welcome back. I'm so happy you feel better. Well, thank you, Drusilla. I do feel better. Thank you for being there for me. Well, here's a question. I'm just picking random questions. There are a lot of comments. Oh, Manny Kyla, do you know Kan Cao channel? I do not know. Who's Kan Cao? Cao Kan. Cao Kan. No, I do not know. Okay, all right. I think this is it. There's so many comments. Oh, here's Drusilla again. Do you think Gordon Chan's credible regarding China? I know he's one of the earliest personalities who spoke out about the truth about China's economy. I mean, he's been raising the awareness of CCP's threat and the reality of China's economy for the past 15 years, maybe 20 years. He's been around for a long time. But what I think he has been saying that the CCP is going to collapse, and some people have argued that, well, you've been saying the CCP is going or was going to collapse for the past 20 years, and look, they're stronger than ever, or that's what they say. They're still around. So I think he has explained solved half of the puzzle, which he has disclosed the true reality of China's economy, but he hasn't showed how the CCP is covering it up. So when he's been saying that, well, CCP is going to collapse, people expect it to happen, but it didn't happen, and that hurts his credibility. I think he should talk about how CCP is covering it up, right? The deceitful. He should focus on the deceitful nature of the CCP, and then hopefully people will comprehend the subject better. That's my take on that. But it's not easy to tackle the subject matter. All right, okay. Seek the truth. Leisrealtalk. Have you heard, or is there any updates on the next legislative recall in Taiwan? It's on August the 23rd. Is the DPP changing their approach to be more aggressive and involved? I think so. I think so. But the momentum is not on their side. So I almost wanted to do a program on that, but not a lot of people are interested in that subject. So, but I may still do a program on that, maybe next week, because we're getting close. August the 23rd. Well, what? Oh, a week away. Yeah, maybe next week I'll talk about that. Thank you for bringing it up. All right. That's all for tonight. And I'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Okay, bye-bye.